Hello all. Had to have a think about this one. I didn't hate Doctor Who Season 2 Episode 6, the Interstellar Song Contest, but it's not very good. There is a nice analogy in there, but it's wrapped up in rushed, nonsensical hokum. Obviously, as it's based on the Eurovision Song Contest, which I don't mind actually, it skips headlong down the camp alley, and a little away from Doctor Who. I guess that was kind of expected though. Sure, at times Doctor Who has mild campiness to it, but here it's full throttle and as such ill-fitting with the subject matter being covered. That means the threat never feels that real and the emotion is a bit hollow. The music is overblown in typical Murray Gold style, which in previous regenerations has complemented and lifted the show, but what's happening on screen here doesn't match it. In several scenes it's quite jarring. The music was trying to make me feel something that wasn't earned or I wasn't seeing. There is a very diverse cast, but I think you can guess what the bad guy looks like. And whilst last week's antagonist is let off, this week's wasn't so lucky. I mention that because there are echoes of last week in some of the script, but I'll get onto that later. Despite the setting, there's a rather dramatic and quite visually stunning setup, but that's all it is. We're quickly made aware that it's not that bad after all. The conclusion is rushed and ridiculous, using MacGuffins to resolve and a rescue plan that would actually take over a year to accomplish. Chuti cries a couple of times, and again, he tried to be the oncoming storm, but this dude is a paper tiger. You get no sense of threat or menace from him. He's saying the words, but they're meaningless, and then he's just kind of cruel.
Never be cruel, never be cowardly.
So the analogy, and this will probably drift into being a bit spoilery, there is an anti-capitalism message, of course, and the writer of the show, Juno Dawson, a trans woman and LGBTQ+ activist, though apparently quite a controversial one even within the community itself, so the analogy is the one you'd expect. However, it is actually an analogy for a change. Not subtle perhaps, but it's not the usual wet halibut to the face. It's about the demonisation of a species based on lies, and how that makes some give in and embrace that characterisation, while others hide who they are to fit in. That's great fodder for a story, and as I say, she probably means it in a very narrow way. But this is the beauty of analogy. It can be far wider in its meaning, and we can all identify with it in some way. Now, I referenced last week's episode as it's pertinent. Because of a bruised ego, the antagonist kidnapped people and held them hostage for months to facilitate his plan to kill the gods. And that would have caused irrevocable damage to the human race. Once defeated, the Doctor treated him with sympathy and empathy, and he just kind of got to walk away. This episode's protagonist is also after revenge for an horrific crime against his people, and a universe that hates his kind. His plan is truly monstrous. But this time the nuance is gone. No sympathy or empathy for this one. The Doctor just tells us that he's evil and then tortures him.
Never be cruel, never be cowardly.
And the crime against his people, well, that was just brushed under the carpet. So again, a kernel of an idea drowned in rushed nonsense before it falls flat in the setup for the final 2 episodes. So what did you all think? Did you find the campness too much, or was the balance just right for you? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.